welcome to BIO3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about how the body uses fat. What I'm going to do is go over this quick little bit of information. I don't know how long this thing is going to run, so if it gets boring, fucking shut it off. But I'm going to try to explain to you guys a little bit how the body uses fat for energy. There seems to be a lot of bullshit going on in forums and fucking all this bullshit about how you shouldn't go low carb and you shouldn't go low fat. And I flat out, first of all, there are different types of fat. There are different types of carbs. Now, if you fucking wingnuts, it's all the fucking same. No, it's not. The body needs essential fatty acids, and it doesn't need fucking 100 grams of essential fatty acids, which some people seem to think it does. It really doesn't need that much. The problem is you guys are feeding it the wrong amount of fat, the wrong kind of fat. You don't get the essential fatty acids, then you have fucking hormone issues. You can literally supplement your diet with essential fatty acids of whatever the dosage is on the label, and not even eat any fucking fat, and guess what? Your hormones will be fine. You're fucking stupid if you don't know this shit. You really should fucking go back to school or just go back to a fucking book and crack a book and check it out. But today we're going to read this off of Biointeractive, hhmi.org. Okay, this is like a biology website. So basically we're going to run through how the body uses fat. So we'll start in the beginning. Our body uses three main sources of energy: glucose, glycogen, and fat. These nutrients are linked by metabolic pathways that can convert one to the other. So carbohydrates can turn into fat, and fat can turn into, you got it, glucose. Or, well, not carbohydrate, because that's the carb turns into glucose, but it can be turned into glucose. By weight, fat contains 3 times as much energy as glucose, making an excellent substance for energy source. Okay, so technically, fat is a great substance of energy. Now, many people think carbohydrates are the key to life. And I get it, because they taste good, and you know, just eating some fucking olive oil is not really the best thing in the fucking world. It kind of sucks. But facts are facts. The fat can be used readily for energy, just as good as carbohydrates can. It takes a few extra steps to do it, but it can be done. So it's not like you're gonna fucking die if you cut your carbs. Let's move on to the next one. It says glucose is simple sugar. Because our brain uses glucose as its primary energy source, a continuous supply of it is necessary. Now, they're not saying that you have to eat a constant supply of glucose. Glucose is also the immediate energy source for all other tissues. Glucose is obtained by direct ingestion, okay, by digesting complex sugars such as lactose or other carbohydrates such as starch. It is also made by breaking down glycogen, which is stored in the liver and muscles, or by converting glycerol from fat, which means your body is going to be able to take fat, whether you ingest it or you use body fat, turn it into glycerol and use it as glycogen, which means that your brain is going to get glycogen one way or the other, whether it has to make it or it's getting put in, it's going to get it, which means that the low carb thing is not going to fucking kill you, okay? Glucose is easily transported in the blood, but is not well suited for storage in the body. So basically, once your glycogen stores are full, it turns into fat. It doesn't just fucking, whatever you don't use up, whatever glucose you don't use up gets stored as glycogen. Whatever gets left over after glycogen gets stored as fat. It doesn't disappear. So if you're eating too many carbs, you're going to get fat. Glycogen is a complex carbohydrate made of many hundreds of thousands of glucose molecules. It's an animal analog of starch. Glycogen is made and stored primarily in the liver and the muscles. Okay, so now glucose gets turned into glycogen, which is stored for later on. So glucose is the immediate energy source, which means that if you drank a carbohydrate drink and it went into the gym, you would start using the glucose right away. You'll notice also that your muscles will fatigue later if you're having the glucose drink or the carbohydrate drink, because the body's not pulling the muscle glycogen. The burn and the pump, it kind of gets a little, well, you get a better pump, but the delay of burning from the lactic acid because your body's using glycogen is a little bit delayed. Glycogen is made and stored primarily in the liver and muscles because it can be readily broken down into glucose molecules. It is an important energy reserve. The amount of energy stored in a body's entire glycogen reserve is low and can be expended in a couple of minutes. That means muscle glycogen and liver glycogen, you can't store a whole lot. Okay, so I don't know, you know, there was some fucking theory out there like 400 grams of glycogen is what you got, 400 grams of carbs is what you could store as glycogen or some shit like that. You know, you go back to the basics of the basic biology books and tells you that the amount of energy stored in the body's entire glycogen reserve is low and can be expended in a matter of hours. Okay, so that means as you're training, you know, your body is burning up glycogen, glucose, and as you're doing your daily activities, you know, your liver is what's supplying most of that glucose, not your muscles. So a lot of your liver glycogen gets burnt off. Now, we've talked about different kinds of carbohydrates being used for different things. This is where that comes into play. If you're trying to replenish liver glycogen, you can do that easier with fruit than you could with a complex carb. It's how many steps it takes to get your body to do what it wants to do. Now, this is fat is our body's primary long-term source of stored energy. The fat molecule triglyceride is made from three fatty acids and glycerol. Because fat is insoluble in the blood, the body has special mechanisms to transport it. Now, that is very important to listen to what they just said right there. Because fat is insoluble in the blood, the body has a very special mechanisms to transport it. Now, here's where I talk about different kinds of fats being used. If you have saturated fat, which is a solid type of fat, it does not get used the same way as olive oil, which is already a liquid fat. If you eat a chicken breast for 25 grams of protein, and you ingest a protein shake for 25 grams of protein, which one gets in your blood and moves faster? The protein shake. You're hungrier faster, it gets used faster. That's the whole point of having protein shakes, besides convenience, is to get the macronutrient in your body as fast as possible and working. So if you're having something like a liquid protein that works faster than a chicken breast, why the fuck would you want to stick something like a saturated fat in your body, which, okay, it's going to get broken down. It's not that it's not going to, but your body's going to have to work so hard at fucking doing that to do what it needs to do. It doesn't fucking make any sense. And this is basic stuff, again, that any of you could have fucking found. It took me like 5 minutes to find this so I could explain it to you guys. And it's actually, it's pretty easy to understand the way that they put it with these. Depending on the availability of food and metabolic demand, fat and sugar are converted into each other by a series of enzymatic reactions. Thus, a person can gain weight by eating excess carbohydrates and sugar, which become converted to fat. Now, listen, they did not say if a person consumes too many calories. They said if a person consumes, in fact, thus a person can gain weight by eating excess carbohydrate and sugar, which become converted to fat. Okay, so even in the biology book from way back in the fucking, this is the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. Now, they're already talking about sugar being stored as body fat by taking in excess carbohydrates, because they know most people take in too many carbohydrates. And this is something that has been happening for fucking ever. But they're more concerned with that and talking about that than they are with the fats. So be aware. You don't just ingest as many fucking carbs as you want. You fill up the muscle, you fill up the liver, you burn some off during your workout or your day or whatever, and then the rest magically disappear. If there's anything left over after your body has done what I just talked about, it's stored as fat. Period. Done. And that means even if your fat is low, even if you have a low-fat diet, your body's going to store those carbohydrates as fat. And they say nothing about a caloric deficit or caloric surplus or anything like that in here whatsoever. None. This is just a reaction that happens to your body chemically. Period. During and after meals, when glucose is plentiful, it can supply the body's metabolic demands. The muscles and liver converts excess glucose to glycogen in energy reserve. Any further excess is converted to triglycerides and stored. So whatever you eat during that meal, after it restores your liver glycogen, let's say it's full, your muscle glycogen is full, you don't have a workout coming up for 5 hours, whatever's left over that you didn't need is stored as fat. So we're going to stop there because this is already 8.5 minutes. So this is basic shit, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, basic shit that you guys could have been looking at all along. And you go to a forum, and most of the forums, they don't even fucking understand this or can't even fucking comprehend the principles of this. And you're listening to those people. This is the basic science of your body. This is not my fucking theory. This is actual science. So I advise you guys, go check this shit out, learn it, understand it. And if you don't understand it, this puts it in terms that even I can understand. I'm not fucking very smart. I'm a fucking half retard. So it doesn't, even I can figure it out. It's got some diagrams and shit, which, explains it a little bit better. I'm bad with diagrams, but the wording of it makes it easy to understand. BioStraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog. It's how the body works, bicep, and we're out.